Hey everybody, Wildman Wes here, and welcome back to a long-awaited edition of Worst State of Movies. We appreciate the fact that you stuck around for so long with Shocktoberfest. Unfortunately, we have to get back to movies that we may or may not like, and in some situations, I need to figure out whether or not I like them. Let's get back to the map and see where we go next. We continue our East Coast tour with the state of Massachusetts, home of the Boston Red Sox, my second favorite baseball team. Some of you probably already figured out my first favorite baseball team, but yeah, they haven't been doing pretty good since 2016, so we're just going to leave it at that. However, this movie does have two of my favorite actors of all time with a lot of their iconic characters, Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges. However, what happens when you take two of your favorite performers and you put them into a movie that may or may not really be kind of a ripoff in a way? You guessed it, folks. Today we're going to be talking about 2013's R.I.P.D. Rest in Peace Department. Or Rest in Peace Police Department. I don't know. I'm not on that pay grade to answer questions like that. Our movie is about a police officer named Nick, who with his partner Bobby are finding some artifacts that seem a little out of place and out of time. Bobby on one side wants to keep them for his own so he can possibly retire early and live the good life. Nick, obviously upholding the law, is not feeling very comfortable about it. So what does one partner do to the other if they're not going to comply with their greedy nature? That's right, folks. So Nick is in the afterlife and he has to pay for his sins in the worst way possible, or to atone for sins, he has to join the R.I.P.D, the police department for the afterlife. And he has a new partner named Roy, who is originally a U.S. Marshal, and unfortunately, Roy's partner when he was alive betrayed him too. So he already has a lot of distrust for Nick, even though Nick has felt the exact same betrayal that Roy has had when he was alive. Now Nick and Roy are going around trying to figure out why certain artifacts are being stolen to build what is known as the Staff of Jericho that is going to bring destruction upon the earth for the demons and the souls of the unrest to come back and wreak havoc. You know they're not going to let that happen as best as possible. So they have to interrogate a bunch of afterlife criminals to figure out who's responsible for all of this mess. Well, movies like this, you already figured out if somebody's betrayed somebody at the beginning of the film, they probably have something to do with the ending. And Bobby is the one trying to bring all havoc and chaos in the universe. The plans get thwarted, and Roy has another 50 some odd years tacked on to his atonement. In the R.I.P.D, Nick gets a slap on the wrist. In the midst of all of that, I forgot to mention, Nick has a love life and a love interest, and he has to remind her that she has to keep on living even though he's no longer alive. This movie, I had a lot of hope for back 12 years ago. When I first saw it in the trailer, at least, I went, oh, okay, Ryan Reynolds, Jeff Bridges, Kevin Bacon is the villain? You can't go wrong. Well, you can go wrong in some aspects. We're going to talk about what I like and what I don't like about this film. Now, what I like about this film, the humor is there. I feel that when they rely upon the avatars of the characters of Nick and Roy to not be noticed, it's funny to a degree, but pick and choose your battles when you use them. They used it a little bit too much at times. I love the fact that they had James Hong playing Ryan Reynolds' avatar as the afterlife character so he wouldn't be noticed. However, the fact that William Hong plays the avatar version of Ryan Reynolds when he's out in the real world setting, it's funny because when you look at the dynamic of Jeff Bridges' avatar, it's hot blonde, old Asian guy. It makes no sense. And I guess that's the charm of it, but at the same time, you look at somebody like James Hong that has played so many characters and so funny and deserved a lot more starring roles, or even just not just playing a villain in Big Trouble in Little China, let's face it, folks. Some of the tongue-in-cheek humor is cute to a degree, but after a while, much like other things in this film, we have to deal with overkill. Yes, Jeff Bridges' character is a former U.S. Marshal during the Wild West, and during that time period, something that really got the guys going was ankles, and there was a lot of ankle jokes in this, and after a while, you're just like, dude, go to the bathroom or find a sock. Do what you gotta do, man. We don't want to hear it anymore. Oh, now it's time to talk about that never-ending elephant that's in the living room. Yes, there are times where we look at movies and take ideas, inspirations, and in some cases, rip-offs. Definitely has that buddy cop feel to it. Some of the action sequences very much like a comic book movie, similar to Blade in the style of the action. However, when it really comes down to the story, we've seen the buddy cop and the buddy agent movies, whether it's people that are of the living. Now we have one of people of the dead. However, the dynamic of Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges in this film feels that this movie could have just been called Afterlife Men in Black. It really could, because you have the stern character or the stern person in the department, and then you have the wisecracker. And it really felt watered down, and I was a little disappointed because, as I've mentioned, I'm a big fan of Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds, and I see so much of their work that, yes, they have had some doozies in their time, but something like this where it's a comedy, they do so well in comedy, especially dark comedy. And I had a lot of high hopes and expectations, and I feel bad that I did, because I feel that they really missed the mark with this one. Oh man, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but it's okay, because you know what? When it comes to a series called Worst State of Movies, you're bound to have some things to talk about that other people don't like. For the grade for this film, I gave it a shot 12 years ago, gave it a shot again for this series, and unfortunately, R.I.P.D. Jeff, Ryan, Kevin Bacon, James Hong, and everybody else involved in this cast that I actually really appreciate their performances in other movies. From the bottom of my heart, I say I am so sorry. Well, we hope you enjoyed me doing a review on R.I.P.D. for Worst State of Movies, for better or worse. If you've seen this movie and you agree with me, leave a thumbs up, and if not, hey, I get it, you know? A movie like this, there are performances that people really do enjoy. There are parts of it that I actually do appreciate, but at the end of the day, when it comes to rewatchability for me, I can't say yes. That's unfortunate, too. Apart from that, we hope you share on social media, but most importantly, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for instant notifications. Until then, I'm Wildman West, and we will see you next time on the next episode of Worst State of Movies, or some of the other projects we have here on Dragonfire Entertainment. Take care, and we'll see you next time.